Right now, more than 60% of functional medicine and longevity clinics in the US already use peptide therapy, which means if your wellness or health expert isn't talking about peptides yet, they probably will be soon.
And when something gets this popular, the myths come out of the woodwork. We've heard it all: thyroid cancer fears, gastric paralysis rumors, even claims that peptides are just celebrity quick fixes.
So today, we're separating science from clickbait. What's true, what's twisted, and what you actually need to know.
I'm Jessica Briecke.
And I'm Dr. Kylie Burton, a chiropractor who hates adjusting. And this is Pep Talk, Peptides Unpacked. Let's bust some myths. But first, why peptides? Jess, for you, why peptides?
Yeah, so the first thing for me was about the neuroprotective benefits. I am the daughter of a stroke survivor who is the daughter of a stroke survivor. And when I learned that peptides were going to help protect my brain, that they were going to lower the inflammation and the risk factors that are associated with stroke, Alzheimer's, dementia, I was all in. Nothing scares me more than the idea of potentially having a stroke like my mom did, or remembering what it was like when my grandfather did and he was paralyzed completely on his right side and could no longer speak, or the long goodbye with Alzheimer's and dementia. I just find those to be the saddest, probably, diseases that we have out there. And anything that was going to protect me from that, I was all in. Any other benefit to me at that point was going to just be icing on the cake. I wanted to protect my brain.
Yeah. And I remember I'm seeing your social media posts. I'm like, girl, what the heck are you doing? And then I started asking people about peptides. And like, oh yeah, I'm taking a peptide. They like so many people are taking it, they're just not talking about it verbally. So it's like when the book The Millionaire Next Door, it's like the peptide user next door. Like we really don't know how many people are taking them, but a lot of people are taking them because of all these benefits. And the number one response I've received when people say, "Oh, I'm taking peptide therapy in some way, shape, or form," is because of the neuroprotective components. They care about their brain. And which is also why I host the Unshakable Brain podcast, because we only have one brain, and you have stroke in your family. I have major cardiac problems in my family, but also Parkinson's runs
Right.
rampant.
Yeah.
And
That's
we're
another
gonna,
thing that they're cardiovascular protective too. So we're finding, because one of the things that it does is it helps to lower inflammation in the body, but it lowers visceral fat, which is the most dangerous fat we have when it comes to cardiovascular disease. So there are a lot of factors that peptides help to lower that risk factor. But cardiovascular protection, neuroprotection, yes, please. And people do use peptides more often than they think, because even taking a collagen supplement, that's a peptide. People don't realize collagen, that collagen you're putting in your drink every day, that's a peptide.
yeah, I didn't realize that either. And then on the previous episode, so was insulin.
Yeah.
Insulin's a peptide, and we've been using it to help people stabilize their blood sugar for years.
Yeah,
A
100,
hundred years
100
to be
years.
exactly. So I just had to laugh when I talk to these people and the wife's like, "Oh yeah, I inject him with X and X like peptide every single day. He gets his testosterone shot, he gets his GLPs or his peptide therapy, that combination of it for him." And he started it, this particular guy who was in his like mid 40s and he's as fit as can be, but he wants the neuroprotective component. His mom has dementia. And so we're seeing it like in your generation, and then I'm in the younger, it's my grandparents. I
Yep.
only have one left, and we actually celebrated his 90th birthday yesterday. But he's somewhat there. I wouldn't say he has Alzheimer's, but dementia, yeah, because he gets lost on where he is. So
Right.
we've now learned like you can't leave grandpa by yourself. We call it grandpa duty. I'm on grandpa duty, and we just see these in the elderly population, and now we're going to,
And
prevent as much
accepting
as
it, by the
possible.
way, we're accepting
Yeah.
it. We're accepting that as part of the aging process, which we don't need to do, because we can live longer, better. We don't have to have that fear hanging over our head, or who's going to take care of us in our later stages, because we can't remember everything. We don't remember to feed ourselves, or we don't remember to turn off the stove, things that are unsafe, let alone remembering who our family members are.
let's roll with that because I know on your platform on social media the last few months has been like, I just turned 54 and I feel the best I've ever felt in years. And so why do we have to accept that this and this and this comes with age? Because we don't.
We don't have to. I mean, I will say, and I think a lot of people listening can relate to this. How many of you have walked into a room and got into that room and said, "Oh, what did I come in here for?" You don't remember. That's part of that. That is part of that brain fog that is happening when our body's not using insulin and our brain is inflamed. That silly little thing that we make fun of all the time is it's a whisper. It's a whisper that something is not going right in our body. And that was happening to me in my 30s. Now, I could have related it to being overtired and having babies at home, and that is true. But really, was it just signaling that my body was already in trouble? And I'm going to tell you yes. And I know now, fast forward 20 something years, yes, those were my whispers that I was just accepting as kind of, yeah, we get older, we get busy, we get forgetful. No, that's not because now that I am doing this, that no longer happens. I'm not searching for words. I'm not forgetting why I'm walking into a room. And I'm 20 years older than I was when that started happening to me. It's amazing.
Yeah. One of my most favorite effects to see is I work with patients and I work with practitioners. I don't work with anybody one to one anymore, or even in as a client, period. But one of my favorite things to see is the confidence boosting.
Mm,
And that's what caught my attention on your post was like, this girl's up to something. What is she up to? And I've known you for so long now that it's like, okay, if you're in, I want it. I want in. And then we started having this conversation about peptides, and I'm like, I don't even know what a peptide is. I have to go look it up. And as a chiropractor and as a functional medicine specialist, why do we not know what a peptide is
right?
and what the peptide therapies can do? We don't receive training on that in med school, no matter what type of med school you are going into. Maybe they're going to implement it now because of the word on the street. But I really think that that's one of the reasons why you and I are here, is because let's talk about peptide therapy, not from just your experience and what you've seen, but also of these side effects that, or these primary effects, we'll say. The neuroprotective is a primary effect of peptide therapy and how it's no different than receiving hormone therapy.
Right.
We
So,
ready?
yeah, I'm ready. Let's
Should
let's
we get
get
into
right
some
into
myths?
some of the let's get into some of the things about why people are maybe even afraid of peptide therapy. And I will put myself in that category. I got to tell you, I dove deep into the research to help my clients. I knew that I wanted that neuroprotection. I ordered my peptides and they sat in my refrigerator for 2 weeks because I was scared. I was scared. I was scared of so many things. Now, 20 something years ago, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. Pretty common, by the way, that people have insulin resistance and autoimmune conditions and whatever that will also find that they
Insulin
are.
resistance is like the bottom line for autoimmune conditions and hormone problems.
Sure, absolutely. So it's no surprise that you have so many people that are diagnosed with very similar things, right? And that these peptides are striking a mark when they're striking a chord with so many. They're so successful because that is the underlying thing. And when we have something that can help us remember how to work again, so easily. It's a win. It's a win for everybody. But I was still scared. I knew all the things and I knew what I wanted to have happen to me, and yet I was still afraid of it because I wouldn't even take hormone therapy for Hashimoto's 20 years ago when that was diagnosed. I can do this, I can handle this, I don't need it. I still don't need it, but but
You've
peptides,
just found an alternative that's better.
that's right. I was just waiting for my ship to come in here.
Yeah, your peptide shipment.
hmm
I think along this doesn't ever get addressed, but it's true. Because if you have been fighting, say you've been fighting weight loss for 20 years, say you've been fighting Hashimoto's, you've been fighting fatigue, that almost becomes an identity.
hmm
And now to truly heal, your identity changes. And there's some internal resistance to that in the forefront. But as you're like, I'm scared, maybe that was like, wait a second. What if I lose 20 pounds? What if all of the things I've been doing anyways just work better? And now I'm seeing the results that I've been trying to get anyways.
Yeah,
You have to give yourself permission and to say, okay, that's cool. I'm going to wear the typical 52-year-old clothing, but now when I'm 54, I'm going to go change some rules. That's an identity shift.
sure.
What's it been
I was
like?
I was also afraid of the needles, if I'm really honest.
Yeah,
That scared the heck out of me because in my mind, it's like a shot or a blood draw or even the finger prick, which really hurts, by the way. A finger prick for blood sugar test, that hurts. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to commit to a needle every week and I'm going to hurt myself that way. Like, do I really want to do that? I was afraid, which, by the way, doesn't hurt at all. It's such a tiny little needle. I was so afraid of it. The first time I did, I'm like, oh, that was it. I barely even felt that. So I worked it up in my brain to be something that was so much greater than what it actually was. And then it was nothing. As soon as I did it that first time, I'm like, oh, I wasted 2 weeks of being afraid when this could have been, I could have been already on my road to healing. It's okay.
when I was an undergrad, I was training to become a dietitian. My bachelor's degree is nutrition, and the next step was going to become get your master's and become a dietitian. I did a rotation at the hospital, the local hospital, and the dietitian there wanted me to pretend like I was type 1 diabetic. So she gave me an insulin pump. We had to do the insulin injection. And of course, there wasn't insulin in it. It was just, I think it was saline, water with some salt. Um, but it was very similar type thing where you just like stick it in your stomach and then it's just there
Right.
because that's how it pumps in the insulin for those individuals who need it. But when you talk about how, it was so terrifying to do it, but I was like, wait, I didn't even feel it.
It's the
It's like
weirdest
the
thing.
same effect.
Oh, crazy. Well, why don't we hop into some of these myths that people, while we're talking about things that we're afraid of, let's talk about some of these myths that people are hearing. Let's get rid of them. Let's just dismiss them and let's explain what they are. That the first one, peptides are only injectable, since we're talking about that, right? It's not true. Most of them are injectables. The GLP-1, the GIP trizepatide blend that I'm doing is an injectable, but it does come in an oral form. It's less bioavailable when it comes in that way because the peptide molecules are large enough that when we're putting them through our digestive tract, first of all, some of them are not getting absorbed because they have to go through the whole digestion process. But the way that the molecules are absorbed through that method is a little bit less than it is when it's put in subcutaneously, which means just injecting it into the fat in our belly or our leg or our upper arm. Um, However, if somebody is needle phobic, which is a very real thing, and that's the thing that's stopping them, even if that oral form is less absorbable than the injectable, then I would say do the oral form. So what if you're getting 20% less efficacy, right? I would rather you do the oral form and have 20% less of an impact than to not do these peptides at all. So while they are more readily available to the body when we are injecting them, largely for most peptides, don't let that be the thing that stops you from using them because even a little bit less absorption is better than no absorption and no availability of the body at all.
Yeah. And I want to stress that, as we mentioned in the previous episode, when we were talking about what is a peptide, these molecules aren't just a tiny, tiny chemical compound. Like if we actually break it down and break it into the structure of organic chemistry, which I don't ever want to go through again in my life, but they're compounds large enough that you need to get them through the body through an injectable. But if you're like me and sublingual is an option, heck yeah, I'm going sublingual because I'm still going to benefit from it. We just might have to alter the dose a little bit to get it up there. It's because we're having to absorb it differently. But
Yeah.
there are alternative options, and I will say that this one option that we can provide is a sublingual, and it's like a replacement for Viagra. How cool is that?
It's amazing. It works and it works completely differently than
Hmm.
Viagra. Well,
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that in a future episode a little bit more in depth, but it's wild what that is doing for both men and
and
women.
women. Hmm.
That is not uh hey, I think I want to get in the mood. Let's plan for this. It lets you keep your spontaneity and have a completely different reaction than that little blue pill does.
And can I just throw a balloon out there?
Yeah,
If you are working with patients in any type of hormone disarray, you have to look into this. It is going to change hormone therapy forever. So
it
stay
is.
tuned and let's get into it later. But if you
Yeah,
are a
it is.
practitioner helping people with their hormones, I don't care if they're um, postpartum, I was going to say post pregnancy, but postpartum, if they're 36 like me, if they're post-menopause like Jess, are you post-menopause?
Um,
Perimenopause?
Not,
Something different?
I lost my parts. I gave those up a couple years ago. The factory got
Okay.
closed and I lost my parts, but I still kept my ovaries. I am still producing. But I started HRT. That's part of my stack. And this just adds on to the benefits of my HRT therapy.
Yeah. So if you are helping people with hormones, you need to look into this.
You
All
really
right. So
do.
myth number one, peptides are only injectables. Not true. There are options, but injectables do work best,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. Myth number two, peptides are steroids. Now, a steroid, as we know, I immediately think I'm in the athletic space. Steroids are a big X, a big no-no. If you get caught on them, you're going to get busted at some point. Just what's the difference between a steroid and a peptide?
Well, a steroid is really kind of coming in and effectively doing the job of what a hormone is going to do, whereas peptides are more of a signaling um, block of molecules, right? They're going to help our body make or repair the next phase of healing, whatever that may be, or the next phase of metabolism, whatever that may be. Like in the case of a GLP-1, how we use blood glucose after we eat. So they're not steroids, they're communication tools. They're not muscle pumping hormones like a steroid. Steroid is often referred to as when we're talking about the body's response, like muscle building or any of that. So it's just a completely different way how they are, how the body uses them. Steroids can be pretty brutal on the body. So you have some pretty rough side effects that can come along with steroids too. Tough on the liver, um, and it can be tough on tissue just in general.
Yeah, you're a massage therapist, you would know. One of the ways that my husband explains this, because he's in the bodybuilding space and the natural side, gets accused a lot of taking steroids. And he's like, why would I take a steroid when it's going to balloon my external muscle? If you want to think about it like that. Whereas something like my heart is still a muscle. What's it
Right,
doing to my heart muscle?
right.
Right? So we have here that steroids replace hormones. Peptides signal your body to make or repair naturally. One of the ways you can think about this is like growth hormone is something that people will stimulate to grow more muscle or just take growth hormone therapy in and of itself.
Right.
Whereas a peptide is going to stimulate your growth hormone in a natural way at natural levels to help you grow muscle naturally. Does that make more sense?
I think that's great. That's a great. So let's move on to myth number three. They're unsafe or experimental. I love this one because what people don't realize is that peptides have decades of clinical research behind them. We know that insulin was discovered back in 1921, so over 100 years ago, insulin, which is a peptide, was first discovered. And these GLP-1s that are the ones that we're hearing about the most right now, they've been used for over 20 years. So we have a ton of data about their efficacy and safety. So really, the risk comes from bad sourcing, self-dosing. It's not the molecule itself that's the problem. So when you get them prescribed through a reputable telemedicine partner or a compounding pharmacy, they have strong safety profiles behind them. So I think we can let go of the idea that they're new, they're unsafe, they're experimental. I would take this one step further and say, we are still discovering the many, many benefits that are going to come with peptide therapy. We're going to see so much more. So we've talked about neuroprotection, we've talked about cardiovascular protection. I know people that have done it that are in multiple stage, late stage kidney failure that they've had help with them. We're obviously saving lives and changing what's happening with somebody's future by reducing inflammation and balancing blood sugar. We're only going to uncover more information that is all positive as we continue to see more and more people use these.
I, I come from a chiropractic school where research was huge. It was the opposite of life at Western States University in Portland,
Hmm.
Oregon. And I always just kind of laugh because you can really find research on anything that you want to find research for.
Hmm.
Whatever outcome you want to find research for, you will find research that
Right.
explains that outcome. When it comes to the peptides being unsafe or experimental, I find that a bit hypocritical in a simple way of how many freaking supplements are out there in the space that claim they have all this research, yet there's never third party research. It's always done in house. And I think about one of the supplement companies that was huge in the industry for 25 years suddenly closed their doors overnight in March of 2025. And I think, did the tariffs have something to do with that? Where were they sourcing their products or their ingredients for
Interesting.
their products?
Right.
No. Huh?
No, that's interesting. I didn't, this is all brand
I
new
just
information
I
for
just
me.
think like yes, peptides are being targeted for being unsafe and experimental. Why are we not doing it with everybody? Like we'll go take a supplement because we bought it off Amazon. We'll go grab it from Walmart shelves without even, I mean, those of us who are practitioners will never do
We
that.
won't do that,
But
but
some people do. Like even if they go to natural grocers, like they're just gonna grab what is recommended to them. And yet these have been such a target. And I think when there's such a strong target, you're doing something right.
yeah, for sure. This is scaring people in big pharma that make a lot of money from sick people.
Yeah. When someone gets better, there goes a customer.
Yep.
Okay, myth number 4. They're just for bodybuilders or celebrities. That's where the buzz started, but now they're used for gut repair, recovery, mood, skin, sleep, and metabolic balance. Peptides aren't just about hype, they're about healing. I want to bring up one specific person, and that person is Serena Williams.
Oof. What a
I'm
story.
a huge fan of tennis. I will watch tennis. One day I'm gonna go to New York every Labor Day weekend, and you will find me. And Jess, you live by, so you can come with me. And we're gonna watch tennis for 3 days straight. I've done it once in the 2019. It was like the funnest ever. I'm just gonna watch tennis. So I'm very familiar with tennis, the history of tennis, and these players that have been tennis pros and the top of their game, top of the world for years. And Serena Williams fits just that. In fact, I would guess that I would say 85% of the population would say that Serena Williams is the best female athlete of all time. That said, she's always been heavy. She's had
Thick.
thick, yeah,
Yeah.
muscle, strong, like completely opposite of her sister Venus, who
Right.
was this tall twig
Right.
in a very calm, kind, gentle manner. But I've watched her now, she's doing the commercials for peptide therapy. And I'm like, dang, with all the physical exercises she's done, with all of the dieting, now she's postpartum and post 20 years of being at the top of the elite of the elite of the elite. And now she's getting that ridiculously hot, toned, athletic body with the
I mean,
help
that
of,
body is stunning, right? That is stunning. But also, I want to add to that list of things that she has. She probably has the best trainers, the best
yes,
nutritionists. Like she has the best of the best people guiding her whole career. And she still found these successes by using this peptide therapy. So it isn't, I really appreciate that she's out there sharing her story. Even the Kardashians, who kind of, as they do, and like them or not, I love the Kardashians. Little, probably dirty little
they
secret
have
of
a
mine. I love the
platform, and that's all
Kardashians.
that it's about, is they created a platform and now they can do
Exactly.
anything with it.
Yeah. And so they've helped push this information out there, which is benefiting so many people, and I have such appreciation for that. But all
You know
right,
what's
let's move on to
behind
myth
Kelly
number.
Clarkson's?
Oh yeah, she did that a long time ago. I forgot about Kelly Clarkson. I
That
think
girl
that
looks like
you have.
she's like divorced.
Yeah, I forgot
She
about
just
her.
got like let loose to be free after that
I
divorce.
think there's quite a
It
few
shows.
celebrities that have actually used these, and again, these are people that have access to all kinds of professionals to help them do their thing, and yet they still needed peptide therapy. So,
And it's not
let's
just
move on to
celebrities. It's like we said earlier, it's the people next door. Just
yeah,
like your millionaires next door. It's
exactly.
Joe Blows, whether they're outside speaking it out loud or not, there it's what they're leaning towards. And I want to give you listeners permission. Like if you've been thinking about this, you've been leaning towards it, like it's okay to go for it. It's no different than hormone therapy in a manner that's going to do different things because of the different mechanisms that can help you heal in whatever ways you're looking to heal.
And on that note, myth number 5, all peptides cause weight loss. So only the metabolic peptides like GLP-1s or GIPs, those are going to directly impact appetite or insulin. Most of them, including GLP-1 and GIPs, are going to focus on repair, on inflammation, focus, longevity. Weight loss is just one piece of a much larger picture. So, not all peptides cause weight loss, but they do help us heal, and they are an amazing tool to have in our toolbox.
Yeah. Like we mentioned previously, we talked about you started peptide therapy because of the neuroprotective components.
Yep.
I mean, these are compounds that have multiple mechanisms or affect multiple chemical equations in the body, and symptoms start to resolve. Whatever symptoms those are, it's up to you and in your body and the way you utilize these. But we want to just talk briefly here that it's not this cure for weight loss. And you'll
Right.
hear in future episodes, especially the story with Carly Sign, is that she wasn't drinking water. She wasn't eating appropriately. That's not going like just like any other supplement. It's to supplement a healthy lifestyle. It's a supplement to have the foundation. Once you have that foundation there, like Serena had, now it's like that little extra boost that, as Jess, you've experienced, you're doing everything right.
I walk the talk, right? I
Yeah.
literally do everything right, and it was so frustrating to see my body not responding to all of the hard work. The flip side of that is that you have a lot of people that do not have the foundations in place, and so their signaling is give me more sugar, give me more carbs. My plate is empty and I'm still hungry. Let me have a second helping. These are tools that are going to now help you make better choices because that signaling turn is dialed down. You're now knowing when you're hungry, when you're full. It's knocking down inflammation. So you can make better choices because you're going to be able to feel better and have less pain and move more. It's going to help with your sleep. It's going to help you make better decisions when it comes to fueling your body. It doesn't happen overnight because you now need to relearn how to treat your body in a healthier way. You have to overcome some of those habits, but this is a tool that allows you to easier make those lifestyle changes. It's such an opportunity to change your life because if you don't, you'll end up just as busted metabolically as you were before, if not worse. And now you won't have this as a tool in your toolbox to use anymore. So the goal is to use this as a tool to help you change your life or to be a tool that will stack on top of a healthy life, even if your body's not responding.
Yeah. Think about this tool as a communicator. It's just communicating with your body to be more effective at whatever else you're doing.
Right.
All right. Myth number 6. You'll need them forever, especially for things like hair loss. False. You don't need these forever. Peptides don't make your body dependent, they retrain it. For example, GHK CU or BPC 157C. Like, why can't we not
I
have
know the names, I
names for
know.
these? Oh man, I feel like I'm in tech, like flying an airplane or something. They help improve scalp circulation and signal follicle repair. Once the area is healthier and your foundations like minerals, protein, and stress balance are dialed in, you can taper or cycle off. Peptides give your body a reset, not a lifelong requirement. That said, many people do choose to take these.
Yeah, I
Right.
get this question probably the most um, is if I start these, will I have to take them forever? And there's no one size fits all answer to this. What I do tell people is that you might need just a small amount for a little while to cycle in, teach your body how to communicate again, use all the things because they're regenerative and they help you heal. That might be all you ever need. There's other people that might need to cycle certain peptides, so they might use them like every couple of weeks, or maybe they use them a couple weeks, take a couple weeks off, whatever it is that's right for their body. And then there are those people that will need this support for the rest of their life in a smaller dose. So if you had a big weight loss goal, maybe you lost 50 pounds, 100 pounds or more, and you come back down to a maintenance dose, which is a microdosed small amount, you might always need that for the rest of your life. But it is no different, in my opinion, than somebody whose thyroid has stopped functioning and we give them thyroid hormone, somebody with type 1 diabetes whose pancreas isn't working and they are not producing insulin any longer. We don't think anything about people needing those particular hormones or peptides in the body to help them signal and do all the functions in their life. So why would we be worried about whether or not we do or we don't need them for the rest of our life? So the short answer is, I don't know. I don't know what people are going to need forever. Some people will, some people won't. Depends on the goal, depends on the peptide, depends on their metabolic health when they went into this.
Yeah. And there's more than just GLP-1s. Like there's one for
So much more.
sexual hormone, libido. Like
I can't wait to talk about those. I can't wait
I
to the
think
episode
it's,
where we get into
I
that.
think that one's gonna be a very popular one as it should be.
Yes.
All right, myth number 7. You can buy them anywhere online. Huge red flag. Research only sites often sell impure or mislabeled products. We would recommend you always go through licensed telemedicine or compounding pharmacies. The source is greater than the savings. And one of the biggest questions I get asked or get told when I talk about peptides with people is, I don't know who to trust.
Oh, it's so noisy out there. I get it.
And we've got, if peptides, I'm trying to say this very delicately. If peptides are in the middle of a nutraceutical and a pharmaceutical, yet we have nutraceutical companies saying that they've got peptides in their products. Who do we trust? What are actual peptides and who can you get them from? And in both our perspectives here is when you're doing peptide therapy, just like you're working with someone who's doing hormone therapy, you need somebody helping you walk through this step by step. You would never go to some stranger or go buy uh, hormone, some testosterone injections or some progesterone HRT from just any company. So why are we doing it with peptides? Am I delicately balancing that line
I
without
think you are.
pinpointing specific?
Yeah, yeah, you are because, I want to just reiterate to people that when you are looking at safe sourcing, you want people to be using FDA approved ingredients first and foremost. You want to know that you have resources that are going to support you because that is not the case in every person that is out there online selling. And the other part of that too is there will be people out there, and as we're seeing this ramp up on TV commercials, there will be companies that are out there, big companies, people, big companies that we trust the names that will be out there selling peptides as part of their program. First of all, it's part of their program. Um, at an introductory rate. So you see an advertised price of a peptide and you think, wow, that's way cheaper than what Dr. Kylie and Jess were saying. Guess what? That was an introductory price. They're all going to end up at the same, pretty much the same spot. They're all going to end up in the same spot financially, right? Um, when somebody is not being transparent in what that full cost is, that to me is also a huge red flag. So we want safe sources with FDA approved ingredients with good support around them, whether that just be the telemedicine doctors or the team of people like Kylie and myself that are helping you on the supportive end. You want to make sure that you have everything you need to have a good, safe journey and you know what you're putting in your body. And please, for the love of God, if you are thinking that you're going to go and find them online, like we said, in a research only site, black market, and you're going to say, I can get this for a fraction of the price and I'm going to mix it, please don't. These are garbage throwaway, often ingredients. They are not pure. You are now compounding in your own house, which is a really scary thing to do. I had somebody recently tell me that they were doing something very similar, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm injecting myself with copper. And I thought, hold up, what are you doing? Do you know that copper is going to like create another bigger metabolic problem in your body if you are overdoing it and now you're trying to, play pharmacist in your kitchen? Don't do it. The price is not worth the damage that you will, I promise you, will do to your body. Find the safe sources. You can get that from Kylie and myself or the person that brought you in to listen to this podcast series, but the sourcing is always going to be greater than the savings.
And if you want results, go to places that will get you results. And one of the great aspects about the telemedicine platform Jess and I are really proponents of it is because one, we've searched everything out there, and two, when you need help, they're there to help you. It is a one-to-one conversation with a licensed prescribing physician who knows peptide therapy inside and out, and they are happy to help jump on a one-on-one call with you at no extra cost. Jump into the chat inside your patient portal. So you have some tremendous resources right there and that are available to you to help you navigate this journey because it is a journey, just as HRT is taking hormone therapy,
Yeah.
and to make sure you've got the right sources and the right support along the way.
We got just a couple more real quick myths I think we'll just get through really quick here. More is better, myth number 8. With peptides, actually, in my opinion, less is often more. Microdosing and patients usually it delivers better, steadier results than pushing higher doses. So I'm a big proponent of slow and low. Um, First of all, when we go in, like putting a fire hose in on a match that's been lit is just absolutely ludicrous to me. Your body is going to be overwhelmed. You're going to have a lot of symptoms that aren't necessary. Your body has forgotten how to use these signals, how to listen. So if you go in there and you just try to blast your way in, you're going to end up feeling pretty lousy and wondering why everybody's talking about these peptides like, they are the next greatest thing. Well, they are the next greatest thing. But those larger standard doses are insurance driven. It's money driven. It's not patient need driven. So, in my opinion, I think we're going to see people are just going to do a little bit better, starting off with amounts that are closer to what the body naturally makes because we do naturally make them in our small intestines. and let our body relearn, oh, hey, hello, there's a signal I haven't seen in a long time. Let's remember how we get along here in this relationship. Use them slow and increase as needed. So microdose might be the only thing that you need, this tiny little amount to reach your goals. I would say if it's a weight loss, if you're using a weight loss, because that's really the biggest conversation we're having, although there's so many more things. If weight loss is the goal, I would say with microdosing and staying at a microdose level, you're probably looking at if you're in the 20 to 25-pound weight loss range and lower. Anything above that, you probably will need to go on to some bigger doses, but that's, in my opinion, best done after we've slowly introduced with this tiny little amount. So more is not better. Faster weight loss is not better because when we lose weight quickly, we're going to lose more muscle. We're going to lose some muscle mass no matter what the approach to weight loss is. We'll always lose a small amount, but we want to minimize that by not going in there and losing weight really quickly so that we maintain our muscles and also how we appear, our skin. So if we go in there and lose weight really quickly, and you've heard people talk about Ozempic base because their skin is now sagging and hanging, collagen production, another peptide, can't keep up with a rapid weight loss. You're losing the fat that kind of kept you with taut skin, you lose that really quick. Now your skin's hanging, but that collagen production is not able to kind of keep up and pull that skin back up. So slow, low for so many reasons. More is not better.
Well said. Myth number 9, they replace healthy habits. They don't work if you don't have healthy habits. Healthy habits first, like we mentioned with Serena, she'd done all the right things. Now it was just this one or two or three signals, this communication that allowed her body to show what she'd been working so hard for. And I think just that's similar with you is like you walk the walk, you talk the talk, you've done all the things right. Why do I still have this extra 20 pounds here? And I know from conversations I've had outside of this podcast with practitioners and with people who are just interested in taking the peptides themselves is that so many of them fall into those shoes. They go
Right.
to the gym, they do the healthy food, and they still look like they haven't stepped in foot in a gym for years.
Yeah.
And it's more frustrating than ever because you're putting in the effort. Why are you not seeing the results? And I
Right,
think that's where
exactly.
these peptides come into play is when you're putting in that effort, now you can see the results because of the communication that's there stimulated by the peptides.
Yeah, exactly. All right, last one, Kylie. Myth number 10, peptides are a shortcut. You hear that a lot. Oh, you're lazy. What do you need to use a peptide for? That's just for lazy people. That's not true because first of all, they are not magic. They're not an overnight fix. They're just amplifying what you're already doing, right? So if you're doing bad things in the body, eventually that's going to amplify the bad things you're doing in your body. If you're doing good things, they are going to blow those good things out of the water. So when you pair peptides with solid foundational habits, clean nutrition, movement, minerals, sleep, stress balance, that's when these peptides are really going to shine. So if your foundation is in chaos, these can't continue to do the heavy lifting for you. They are wonderful, amazing tools, but they are not a magic cure for a lousy lifestyle.
Just let's just lay some foundation components here.
Yeah,
Like rather than just referring to it, like what should we expect for a foundation so they can start making changes now? That way, when their peptides do arrive in the mail, they've got a strong foundation ready to go on.
yeah.
So, what would be one thing, like, let's just talk about food, for
Yeah,
example.
we'll talk about that because I think that the some of the other foundations will correct themselves as we balance blood sugar and stuff like sleep, for example, right? Sleep can be off just because our hormones are imbalanced. We either can't go to
Or
sleep
we
or
have
stay.
kids who don't allow us to sleep. Yes.
Well, there's that too, right? That we aren't going to fix. A peptide's not
If
going to
you
fix
have
our
to fix,
children that are
I'm
not
all
sleeping.
ears.
But when it comes to foundational wellness for nutrition, number one is always going to be hydration. Hydrate, 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 right? And so it doesn't mean that you have to suddenly go from drinking 10 ounces of water a day to 100 ounces a day. We want to slowly work our way up. The goal would be half our body weight in ounces of water. I will take it whatever way you can get it to me, whether you're going to put
So
some.
if I let's do the math here real quick. If I'm
Yep,
100, say I'm 130 pounds, which is
yep,
I'm probably around there, haven't weighed myself in a long time.
yep,
130 pounds divided by two would be 65.
yep,
So I need 65 ounces of water.
yep.
Okay, well, as of 2 p.m. this afternoon, I've probably had maybe 25.
Yeah,
I
you are
better get
behind.
drinking.
Yeah, you're behind. And the other thing is, in order to use that water, we want a little electrolytes or a pinch of a healthy salt inside of there because if we just start flooding our body with water and we don't have enough minerals in our body, we're just going to pee it out. We're not actually going to use the body to hydrate ourselves. So that I would say is number
So
one,
say we could
hydration.
titrate up. So any individual, maybe they're not drinking water at all,
Yep.
and they're doing more of the alternative drinks, which don't count in most cases. Say they start at 10 ounces, and then day two, we're going to go 15, and we're just going to kind of titrate up. Whereas, say, like for me, if I get through this 32-ounce bottle, 33.8 ounces in a day, that's pretty good for me. But I should be doing more. So if I
You
can
should be
say,
doing
okay,
two of those.
if I
Yeah.
can get through two of these, which I don't think will affect my body in any way, shape, or form, but if I wasn't drinking anything, jumping straight to 65 ounces of water might throw me for a loop and I'd have to be going pee all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that's number one. Number two, we're going to want to prioritize a couple of things. Yes, we hear all the time, eat the rainbow, we want colorful food, and that is all very true. But if we were often taught that restriction is the key to weight loss, right? Calories in, calories out, it's the only model that matters. And so if we want to lose weight, we have to restrict. And there is definitely some truth to that, to be in a deficit. However, when we're in too much of a deficit, then the body's going to want to hold on. That said, when we are looking at a plate of food, the things we want to prioritize on that plate of food are going to be first protein. And so we want to have, let's eat, we're, to make it simple, the math, the actual math on this is a little different, but to make it simple, 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of ideal weight. And what I mean by that is if you currently weigh 200 pounds, but your ideal weight for your body is 130, then your target protein amount would be about 130 grams of protein per day. And I promise that most people, and they hear that number, they're like, what? How do I do that? How could I get all that food in? And there's so many ways to do that, which we won't get into. But that would be the place to start, prioritizing protein so that you're nourishing all of your organs, your tendons, your ligaments. We have to nourish, and our gut, we have to nourish that. That's number one. Number two would be to prioritize fiber. Now, I'm not asking everybody to go out and start writing down and weighing their food and telling me everything that they're doing. But if you start looking at your day from morning until you go to bed, all the food that you put in, and you look at your fiber count, I promise most of you are way under fibered. So, women, for example, should be 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day. And most people are lucky to get to 10 to 12 if they're not
That's
actively working on that.
Would an easy way to be like, are you pooping every day?
For sure. And most people will, you know how many people, I'm sure you've had this said to you, no, I don't poop every day. I poop every 3 days, and I've always done that. Well, that doesn't mean that's healthy and normal and good. That might be what you've always done. And I promise that is not healthy and normal and good. We need to get your drainage funnels opened up and get you pooping every day. So, right. If you are not doing that, then we would say, well, what's your fiber look like and your hydration? Those two things go hand in hand. That said, if you look at what your fiber intake is on a daily basis and you're only hitting 10 or 12 grams of fiber per day, and I'm telling you, you should be between 25 and 35, do not tomorrow go and get 30 grams of fiber in your diet. You will hate me forever.
Don't go get them from things like Metamucil and stuff like that.
Right.
That's gonna cause more
Ideally,
damage
they're
than
Right. Ideally, it's going to come from a whole food source, but I will tell you that I do fiber supplements in my world. I do a seed fiber in the morning. And at some point, if I know that I'm short in my day, I didn't get enough, I have a chew that I do, which is made from 5 ingredients. It's dates and chia seed and a handful of ingredients, totally clean and pure. I don't rely on that, but I know on a day that I'm short, I'm putting it in. But you want to increase that fiber slowly. So if you're listening to this now and you're thinking, I want to make some changes, 3 changes would be increase your hydration, increase your protein, and increase your fiber.
Can I share a funny story?
Yeah,
I'm
I
potty
love that.
training my 2-year-old. It's
Oh
going
boy.
really well. Second time
Okay.
around. The first time around wasn't so good, but she totally gets it. We've had great success the last 3 days. But the girl was not pooping.
Oh,
And she'd stand there and pull the poopy face and she'd squeeze her butt cheeks really tight. Mama, potty. And I'd say, okay, let's run to the potty. And then we'd get to the potty and she'd hold it in. And we'd do this 10 times a day.
right.
And I'm finally like, Chloe, we gotta go poop, sweetheart. It's not good for you to have poop in your tummy more than 2 days in a row. And we've been going on like 3 days was her big max. Probably took us, a week or two. Um, but over this yesterday, she went poop on her own. I just stuck her on the potty and then I walked back into the kitchen and I said, okay, let me know when you're done. And so she, Mommy, done. I go in there and Mom, poop. I said, no, you didn't. I looked in the potty and like, oh yeah, she did. Like, yay. So this like this morning, her 5-year-old sister decides to help her, lifts her up, sticks her on the potty, and then I could hear them both celebrating in the bathroom that she went poop. And Hallie's just in there, yeah, like celebrating all four. So if you need to celebrate when you go poop, let's celebrate it, but then let's get it to where you're regular again. And I feel like over the last 2 days, she's been regular, but it was like a concern. I'm like
Yeah.
buying cucumbers. I'm buying, what did I get? I found her like a little probiotic gummy
Yep.
to start replenishing those. So I'm like, this is a concern to me. I need you pooping every single day.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we got other problems coming down the pipeline in the next few
Exactly.
years. So there you go, guys. Myths busted, our whys behind peptide, and some foundational components you should implement in your lifestyle to really maximize peptide therapy when and if you decide to get onto it. If you are curious on where to learn more, go to drkylieburton.com/peptides. And that's whether you're interested in consuming them, starting them. I shouldn't say consuming because we don't consume them. We just start the therapy. And then second aspect is if you're interested in providing these to your clients and creating more of the business side out of it, the business opportunity, go to peptide, drkylieburton.com/peptide. If somebody else sent you here, please go back to them and discuss with them how you should get started. And we're grateful you're here. We're grateful for the support. If you have loved what you've listened to, which we hope you have, we have sure had fun creating it so far. Share it with your friends. In fact, blast it onto your social media because, like we've mentioned, have no clue who is on peptide therapy. It could be your next door neighbor, it could be your best friend, and chances are you might be next. I'm Dr. Kylie.
And I'm Jessica.
This is Pep Talk, Peptides Unpacked. See you next time.